So much for posting once a week. Hey guys, it's Dave Kim. Thanks for dropping by to check out what I'm up to. I realize it's been a few weeks since my last video, so let's try switching things up and I'll set a different goal. I'll say I'm going to have 10 videos up on my channel by the end of the year, and my stretch goal will be 12. I think it was Elon Musk who said to have a 10-year plan and try to accomplish it in 6 months. Am I going to reach my goal? Who knows? But I sure will be further ahead than where I was yesterday. Any case, so it's been a few weeks since the NFL draft, and I'll admit, I'm getting more excited for football. To be honest, I'd given up on the upcoming season for the Bears after we signed Andy Dalton as the starting quarterback. Not to speak poorly about the Red Rocket, but I certainly was inspired by that signing. Living in LA, okay, Orange County, I thought I'd have to resign myself to being more of a Rams fan with the trade of Matthew Stafford, or a Chargers fan with the emergence of Justin Herbert. But now I have something to look forward to in Justin Fields. Of course, being an Illinois alum, the idea of rooting for a Buckeye hurts my heart, but I stopped watching Big Ten football before I was born, so I made my peace with it. I imagine the only one with more optimism than me is probably Allen Robinson. Congratulations on getting paid, sir. I think your season is looking better and better, and I hope that this year is the beginning of bringing you a multi-year contract along with a couple of Super Bowl rings. Actually, I think my buddy Jason is probably just as excited since he'll probably have A-Rob as a keeper for fantasy football. The other bit of football news that's got me all hot and bothered is the continued discontent of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Let me just start by saying that I'm not sure what it is, but there's a small sense of pride when your division is super competitive. The early 2000s were a lot of fun because of how good the NFC North was. Chicago-Green Bay games were more like mini Super Bowls, and every play seemed to have us on edge. Sure, Green Bay had Brett Favre and Greg Jennings, but we had Brian Urlacher, Peanut Tillman, Devin Hester. That's why when a team was crowned King of the North, it actually meant something. Although it wouldn't have been such a bad thing to have a cherry of a schedule like the Patriots did for the past 20 years against a division that could not get it together. I do have a theory, though. Back in '98, when Lovie Smith was hired to be head coach of the Bears, the statement that got the most cheers was, "And we will always beat Green Bay." Now, as a Bears fan, who is definitely not fond of the Packers, it was great to hear. But I was quietly thinking to myself, you don't get the Vince Lombardi trophy by beating the Packers. You get it from winning the Super Bowl. For those of you unfamiliar with football, Vince Lombardi was the first coach of the Packers, and the Super Bowl trophy is named after him. The NFC Conference trophy is actually named after the first owner of the Bears, George Halas. So while there's definitely a clear lineage of rivalries and battles, I think it was Michael Jordan who said during their historic 72-10 run in '95 that it don't mean a thing without the ring. Maybe that was Robin. Anyway, I don't believe the goal of a team should be to beat a single team. It should be to beat every team. I don't think Coach Belichick in New England ever says, "We'll always beat the Jets." I'm pretty sure he grumbles something about the Patriot way, and which ultimately means we're winning the Super Bowl. If I had to guess, I think this mindset is at least partially responsible for the Buffalo Bills getting over their hump and setting themselves up as a true contender for that gold. Why am I talking about all this? Oh, right, Aaron Rodgers. So, while I'm the furthest thing from being a Packers fan, I do think their organization is treating Old 12 dirty lately. If I'm going to be honest, I'm amused by its discontent, but I do feel like Green Bay has not done right by their guy. Do they need to draft a future? Of course. No one's immortal and no one can play forever. Not even Tom Brady. That being said, it doesn't appear that they're giving a fair shot to this current team. If anything, NFL is not really a rebuild type of sport. There's simply not a big enough of a time window to tank for Tua or lose for Lawrence, especially with the salary cap in place. If the stars are aligned, you've got to push your chips all in, similarly to the way Sean McVay did out here in LA. So if you don't surround your guy with players to build a team, the season isn't on the QB. It's on the GM and the front office. This might be the worst metric to go by, but have you seen the Madden ratings for Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Alan Lazard? They're not Devontae Adams, but come on, dog. You expect someone to win the Super Bowl with that team? At the time of my recording this, the rumblings are that Aaron Rodgers will definitely not be a Packer and will most likely be a Bronco, which has me thinking about drafting Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy for fantasy football. And for the first time in all my years playing fantasy, I will consider drafting Aaron Rodgers to be my starting quarterback. Man, Justin Fields as the future of the Bears and no more Aaron Rodgers? This could be the best season of football I remember since the season that ended in the double doink. Yikes. One of the bits of hot gossip that's been circulating is how Rodgers calls their GM Jerry Krause, who became posthumously famous during last year's documentary, Last Dance. I'm going to assume that everyone knows who Jerry Krause is, since we were all not leaving our homes at that point in the pandemic. So after watching the Last Dance documentary and getting to know the business side of sports a bit more as I've grown older, the pride of the GM has become such a fascinating thing to me. Now I'll start by saying that people are people and that we all make mistakes and none of us are perfect. But come on, man. Now, of course, you would not have any of the championship dynasties we've known if it had not been for great GMs. But to think that you are the mastermind behind it all is insanely arrogant. What about the coaches and their staff? The players? Even the equipment managers and security? Winning always requires a team effort, especially if you're playing a team sport. Mamba mentality is about personal accountability, but you can't raise the Stanley Cup by yourself. You need your ride or dies with you, or you'll be ousted in the first round of the playoffs. Now I'll admit, I don't know much about many GMs, except for the ones who are painted as villains on ESPN documentaries, but that being said, I wasn't aware that a GM was out for personal glory. I was under the impression that the GM was the one who puts the best team together to win now with talent that can be nurtured so they have the best chance of success in the long run. No, they're not the ones who are supposed to manage the relationship between the front office, players, and coaches? Huh. Granted that many professional athletes are alphas, and it's definitely a challenge to lead a group of alphas. But I'm not sure that emasculating your captain to the world will create a winning culture. If the front office is willing to crucify their 3-time MVP Super Bowl winning captain, why would a role player think that he would be considered anything less than a pawn and made to feel like a sacrificial piece? And I cannot stand the narrative of, oh, that's the business side of this. So what you're saying is that it's okay for an organization to run you into the ground for as little pay and recognition as possible in the name of taking one for the team? However, if a player is asking for help or appropriate compensation, he's now a distraction to the team who doesn't exhibit good teamwork or leadership. Of course, I'm not saying that someone should be compensated in past performance, since it's no guarantee for future performance. But a good track record is probably the best way that you can prove that there is a path to success in the future. So speaking of The Last Dance, it was crazy to learn that there was a chance that the world would never have known the Fire Red 5s or the Infrared 6s, Concord 11s. That Jordan Brand, as we know it, would never have happened had Michael not listened to his mom to take the interview with Nike all those years ago. Just goes to show you, right? I'd say at least 97% of the time, you should listen to your mom. Now, generally, I'm not a hater. I'm really not. But that being said, you bot using resellers are driving me nuts. In the past few years, I've developed a bit of a sneaker habit after a few friends reintroduced Jordans to me. It started with the neoprene 12s, and then escalated with the black cement 3s. Now, I'm 40 pairs in, and I love it. Yeah, I've got more shoes than there are days in a month, but I can't wear some of my shoes in the winter, so I consider that a wash. And that's why you bot users are driving me nuts. I'm not a reseller. I like the shoes I like, and I wear the shoes I like. That means I got creases in my toe box. Yeah, I said it. I got creases in my toe box. You know how weird you look trying to walk and not crease the toe box? And I'm the weird one for walking with my typical gangsta lean? I'm kidding, I don't have a gangsta lean. But I do have a slight lean since my right leg is a bit longer than my left. Now, I grew up in Chicago during the 90s when the Bulls were three-peating like it was layups and everyone wanted to rock starter hats and J's. Except kids were getting shot over sneakers, jackets, and hats. The limited supply and insane popularity made it kind of dangerous to own hype gear at that time. On top of that, it was expensive, especially for a first-generation immigrant family trying to make it. I think I asked my parents once if they'd get me some Jordans, and the no was so big it counted against me until I was 25. To be fair to them, I knew the shoes were expensive and a luxury item, so it wasn't like my parents were holding out on me. I do give my dad tons of credit though. He was able to hook up me and my brother with some starter jackets when we were in junior high from some of his friends who got the gear at wholesale prices since they owned those kind of small businesses. I gotta admit, even though I never received the adulation of owning J's, I did get props for rocking a dope Bulls parka, and I had my dad to thank for that. My dad even got my brother the infrared 6s when they came out. He wasn't able to get me a pair though, since the truck these shoes fell off of did not have my size. And when my brother asked where the box was, my dad quickly replied, they didn't come with a box. Now that I make my own money and without feeling I'm taking food out of my family's mouth, I've been bitten by nostalgia, where I want things that I missed out on when I was a kid. I'm mainly a Jordan guy, but I do own a couple of hype shoes and a handful of Ultra Boosts and Yeezys, but it's my Jordans that make me the happiest. When I was in high school, I remember watching the news as people were trampling each other for hype shoes. There were multiple brawls at sneaker shops across the country as folks were attacking each other for sneakers. You'd think that the dawn of the internet and e-commerce would have made things easier for folks to grab shoes, but nope. Well, maybe at first, but holy cow did things turn sour fast. As much as I love my sneakers, the sneaker market, especially the reseller one, has become insane. If you're not familiar with bots, they're programs that are designed to blitz a website to make multiple purchases of the same item by creating variations in name and address so that there's no stock left within seconds. What good is it owning 40 pairs of the same shoe but in different sizes? Well, they're being resold at much higher prices than retail. Now, I'm all about free enterprise and about a brother trying to make an honest buck, but this is not an honest buck. Cheating your way into buying hundreds of a product and forcing consumers to pay higher prices for said product is not entrepreneurship. It's theft from companies who are not able to create a relationship with their consumers. I know it's not a real theft since people are legitimately purchasing this merchandise, but I don't know of a single sustainable business model that exists where resellers are a part of the equation and making profits in the long run. Not that it would happen given the hype, but could you imagine if all the consumers who want shoes just stop, force these fools to hold their stock, and have multiple pairs of the same shoe in their place, taking up space? Of course I know this won't happen. I want my lightning force too. But that's why I'm grateful for the online community Sole Savy. I found out about these guys through Nightwing over at Wear Testers, and I gotta admit, they're legit. Oh, and before I forget, Foot Locker, your Flex program sucks. Ever since your company converted to that program, I haven't won a single bid to buy any pairs of shoes. I used to win 1 out of every 3 I entered over the course of 3 years, but I haven't won squat in the last year and a half. I've won more bids than the Nike sneakers app. Okay, 3 pairs of sneakers in the Off-White book, but still counts. Your old program rewarded returning customers by giving them greater odds at winning a bid to buy hype sneakers. So thanks for making sure that I won't return to your stores to buy anything ever again. I think I'd rather go to Chic with their ridiculous restocking fees or even a Dick's Sporting Goods. In any case, back to Sole Savy. First of all, not a sponsor. But I am a member, and I'm really happy with having joined. They not only have an app, but also a Slack channel where members can communicate with each other regarding different upcoming releases, their favorite shoe, members looking to do a size swap. It's pretty awesome. They had members of their team reach out to me on Slack right after I joined to see what I was waiting for and see what else I was looking for. The thing I was most impressed by was their founder, who does regular Zoom walkthroughs of how to actually cop sneakers through regular means. I love it. It's regular folks who love sneakers looking out for each other. I'll be the first to admit that I was a bit skeptical prior to joining, but I'm really appreciating what these guys are currently doing for the sneaker game and giving regular guys a chance at copying at retail. Real talk, if you love sneakers, I cannot recommend this community enough to you. That being said, I'm totally leaning on these cats as I look to grab the Jordan 1 Shadow 2.0s and the Lightning 4s. I'm also digging the Yeezy foam runners right now. Not $400 at resale interested, but definitely interested. The design language is wild. Man, they intrigue me. I'm not sure if I like them or I just like how crazy they are. I was really hoping I could grab a pair of the Moon NXT colorway last month, but no dice. I'm going to be trying for the mineral blue colorway this month, and if I end up copying a pair, maybe I'll put up a short clip of rocking them and do a Saturday Night Fever tribute. In any case, thanks again for dropping by and showing some love. I'll talk to y'all later.